Rustier than Paul's arsehole. Welcome one and all to the Snap UK podcast, Mock Draft, NFL 2023. It is our, I think, sixth draft, did we decide? Sixth draft, seventh season. Well done, everyone. Still here, still together. Actually, all five of us in the same room. Impressive. Woo! That is impressive for us at the moment.
Longer than some marriages.
Several, yeah, absolutely. I was married one time. Remember that? That's blown by. Right. My name is Commissioner Griffin. It was bad drafting, wasn't it? Fucking hell.
Complete bust.
absolute bust. Could not trade out of that quick enough.
Ryan Leaf has got nothing on that.
My name is Commissioner Griffin, and I am nominally in charge of tonight's proceedings.
That contract was almost as bad as Sam Bradford's.
You join us not in Kansas City, but instead at the Doghouse at Brayfield on the Green. My four co-hosts are taking the role of GMs for the day, each with a number of draft choices to make. The rules are simple. Fill the needs of your team as you see them. Trades are permitted, but any trades you wish to conduct, especially within your own pool of teams, must be approved by me. 2 minutes per pick, maximum 1 timeout each if you need it. And we'll take a look back through the mayhem once we've concluded your choices. I will be going round the table now to introduce yourselves and your teams. GM number 1 with the first overall pick will be Jim. Who else have you got and who are you selecting for?
I've got the Panthers, the Seahawks, the Bears, the Patriots. Seahawks again.
Looks like he's only just finding out.
Yeah.
Ravens, the Jaguars and the Bills.
Paul?
Hello there.
Hello
How
there.
Are you? Are you well?
Yeah, you're still looking up your teams,
I
aren't you?
am not stalling for time.
Absolutely, good.
So I have 2 picks for the Houston Texans.
What?
Houston Texans. I'm picking for the Green Bay Packers, the Bengals, the Chiefs, the Buccaneers, and the Raiders. I also have the Dolphins and the Rams, who shall remain inactive.
Okay. GM number 3, give us your name and where are you from?
Where'd you come from?
Hi, I'm John from Northampton. I have the Cardinals, the Tetons, the Commanders, the Vikings, the Giants, the Saints, and 2 picks for the Lions.
And GM number 4, what's your name? Where did you come from? What are your sexual preferences?
So I'm Gary. I'm from Brayfield on the Green. I like any sex.
In my really expensive bed.
I have the Colts, the Falcons, the Eagles, the Jets, the Steelers, the Chargers, and the Cowboys, and then the Eagles have got a sneaky second pick somehow.
Okay, thank you, GMs, for introducing yourselves. As Paul pointed out, there are several teams that do not have first-round selections. You were allotted these teams in case you wish to trade in.
Apart from the Broncos, who you apparently decided were so shit you gave to nobody.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'll take them.
Oh.
Not doing anything with them, but just because I haven't got a...
You mean I just missed them off the list of
It
teams?
took us 4 weeks to notice.
Yeah, no one knows.
I did notice earlier, but they don't have a pick to the third round.
No, that'll be why, because I just looked straight. Okay, fine. Right, well, I'm glad you pointed that out before we started the podcast. So that's the Broncos, Rams, Browns, and Niners that do not have a first-round pick, and the Dolphins who did, but they had it stripped from them for tampering.
Fiddling.
Well, absolutely. So fans of those franchises, tough ditty. You will not be involved this evening, I should think. I'm guessing the crowd have made their feelings known about my commissionership.
Sod off.
Thank you.
Fuck you.
Seems fair.
I'm disappointed that you weren't wearing a suit tonight, actually.
There are 2 counts. Firstly, because you moved it to Monday, that's truly fucked my week, so I had to come straight from work. And secondly, I am currently too fat to fit in any of my clothes. So that was never going to happen.
I'm a fat guy. I got suits.
Yeah,
I've
but
got some suits that I used to fit in.
yeah, I can have your guys hand me down suits. Somehow, despite being the heaviest I've ever been, I'm still the smallest guy on the line here. So that says a lot. I feel better being in this room with you guys. Right. The crowds have made their feelings known, as I say. So, as some of us have actual work to do after this shambles, we shall move on. Without further ado, Scott Fitterer / Jim Green, you are on the clock with the first overall pick.
Jim is on the clock.
John has started the clock.
So
we did notice last year, by the way, that John was starting the clock for himself at least 10 seconds after his time had started. So we'll be shit hot on that tonight, John.
I do have quite a bit to do here.
I mean, you wanted to play this game.
You also brought a massive fucking folder with you rather than an iPad.
For a man creating the standards, you should at least adhere to them yourself.
I bought 2 fucking iPads here.
So the first overall pick is in. It also says here the first fucking pick, Paul. Selecting on behalf of the Carolina Panthers, Jim has taken quarterback Bryce Young out of Alabama. I don't think this is a massive shock. Are you convinced he will be the number 1 overall
I'm actually,
selection?
yeah. I think he will be. I think he's the best quarterback in the.
Is he that much
draft.
better than CJ Stroud?
Yeah, I think he is.
Are we calling Paul on the clock already? We normally do, don't we?
I believe it will be.
Should be.
Already that Paul is indeed.
So I'd like to take
Paul
my time out here.
Fiducious is on the clock.
That's quick.
Right, let's talk a bit more.
So talk a bit more about Bryce Young.
I'll tell you why.
We'll do.
Because I'm going to have to explain this.
Okay. Jim, you're absolutely convinced it will be Bryce Young. Yeah. Why does he make the Panthers better from the off?
He might not make them better from the off.
Aha.
I think in the long run, he will make them better. I think they've got a decent offensive line, so they can protect him. He is the best field general of the lot of them. I think irrespective of the talent that they have or have not got a wide receiver, I think he can make more out of them than any other
And why
quarterback.
not Lamar Jackson?
Because he's not in the draft.
Okay, the second pick is in. So, John, if you want to start the clock for the third pick,
Who's got the third pick, by the way?
well, who do you think it might be? Now
So
he's taking his
if
time
I-
to start the
if
clock.
If I take my minute now.
Yeah,
that
take your
time out
minute
to
now.
explain
Right,
it,
go on then. Yep.
So-
So the second overall pick for the Houston
I think
Texans
it's fucking
is
stupid.
outside linebacker Will Anderson
Yeah, that's
Okay.
from Alabama.
So
2 Alabama picks in the first 2. Paul.
every mock draft I've seen has them taking a quarterback.
Okay.
But me personally, if you're building a project, I don't think for the first 8 games, which are going to make the season for this team, you're going to get an immediate improvement from what you're seeing with Davis Mills currently. Davis Mills, a guy who's been in that franchise for many, many years, a guy who knows what he's doing. For me, that team absolutely got its shit together when they had JJ Watt.
Okay, I think that's a fair justification. The thing is,
They need a quarterback, don't they? Come on,
they
let's be
do,
serious.
but how many of the quarterbacks in this year's draft are definitely an immediate improvement?
Well, it'd be interesting to see if Trey Lance goes what he's worth, because the Texans, it feels like that is a home.
That is the end of the minute. I have to interrupt you. John Farrow, you are on the clock with the third overall pick.
Trade!
Oh, we have a trade. So, this trade was confirmed earlier today. It's the trade between the third and fourth picks in the draft.
Yeah,
So,
you might have to announce the previous trade.
well, hang on, what previous trade? Good God.
Hang on. The
So,
one between me and Gary.
So,
now you've thrown this into confusion.
so
Go for gold. Go for gold.
I've traded the third pick,
Yeah.
which for the fourth pick.
Yes,
The
so-
fourth pick has been traded for
Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson.
Well, nobody had told me this.
Yeah, we did.
When?
We absolutely told you this weeks ago.
This was not written in confirmation in the WhatsApp group.
It was weeks.
Oh, well, no, I didn't look that far back. I was waiting for confirmation, which is why I wanted these things written down.
Well, it was written
Was
down.
written down.
Yeah.
No confirmation
This is the
tonight.
first trade
Right, but
that
this is good. This is good. This is good. So, we'll do this in order then. So, the Colts and the Cardinals are swapping picks. Colts get the move to the third and get the third this year and the fourth next year. Cardinals swapping, basically.
Well,
and then
actually, let's do it in proper order. First off, as the Ravens GM, I traded Lamar Jackson
yeah,
to the Colts for the
Right.
fourth overall pick and a second next year.
yes.
That put the Ravens in position number 4, which I then traded to John for the Cardinals pick, number 3 pick, for a fourth round pick this year and a third round pick next year.
Oh, yeah, I had not got the Ravens involved in this at all. I was unaware of this completely.
Yeah.
Shows you how much attention I've been paying
It
this
was
year.
a very early pick. We did it about 3 days after you gave us our teams on that podcast. About
Oh,
4
Jesus
weeks ago.
Christ, that might as well have been 2 years
We
ago.
did it very early, didn't we? So in essence,
So now the Ravens are picking number 3.
So now you know why I wanted this all written down before we started tonight, and you all went, "Oh no, we don't want to be announcing it to everyone. We just want to carry on." Look at this disorganisation; it's dysfunctional and disgusting.
these were trades you already knew about.
I was not aware of that one at all. So the Ravens are picking number 3.
Blame me for moving it to Monday.
I am partially blaming you for moving it to a Monday. I'm mainly blaming me for being too tired. So, the Ravens then are on the clock.
I wonder what Jim's going to do here.
There we go.
More importantly, before I open this, if Lamar goes to the Colts,
Yes.
will he be more successful than if he stays at the Ravens?
Yeah, there is a very good reason why I think it's a good move for both. He obviously wants out. The Colts have tried a couple of different quarterbacks. Experienced quarterbacks haven't worked out. But they've got a good O-line. They've got an amazing running back to take some of the pressure off. And we talked about it before, Lamar and Taylor. That is difficult to defend.
It's a great combination,
And
absolutely.
actually, it could allow him to be his best.
Okay, so with the third overall selection, the Ravens take quarterback out of Florida, Anthony Richardson. That is a gamble. That is a gamble for me.
It's a big gamble.
A big gamble. 13
Going
games.
with Brett Hundley as your
Yeah, effectively.
So you're pinning all your hopes on trading Lamar Jackson to move up to third to take Anthony Richardson.
Yeah.
So you're taking Jamarcus Richardson with the third overall pick.
Yeah, that'll teach you for beating the Niners in the Super
Not
Bowl.
a lot of love for this pick. The fourth overall selection is now on the clock.
Can I time out?
Yes. We're diving in early with these timeouts.
Because what I wanted to do, if Paul didn't take a quarterback at 2, so for the Houston Texans, I wanted to trade for I wanted the Vikings to trade for the Cardinals. So I wanted the Vikings to trade their first round pick, pick swap, plus including some second and third round picks for this year, next year. I haven't worked it out because I'm doing this on the fly based on Paul.
I mean, that is tricky, but I'm prepared to let it fly. So you're moving the Vikings up
to 4,
Right.
Because I want them to take CJ Stroud because next year there's going to be no Kirk there. I think they have and I think they have the GM who would be willing to do such a thing. I would move the Vikings up, Cardinals down. They need picks.
So
they need players they don't need.
23rd.
Yeah.
You're officially moving the
a lot to do
Vikings.
that.
You're officially moving the Vikings up.
What are you paying to do that? That would take a lot of draft capital to move from 23rd to
Well,
4th.
he's basically done his 3 first picks this year to do that.
Yeah.
First, second, and third. I'm accepting it. I like it. I think I agree with the reasoning. I don't see anybody else who's willing to pay that to move up that far for a quarterback.
Hang on, so how much do you pay again?
It's their. It's
the first, second, and third picks this year.
To move up from 23rd to 4th, to have CJ Stroud for a year, sit behind Kirk. Next year, you have CJ Stroud, who is small but an exciting quarterback.
So that's our Herschel Walker trade.
I like it. He's added. He hasn't done it through the proper channels. He hasn't written it down on the paperwork, nor has he announced his pick properly. But I like what he's done. That puts the 5th overall pick, the Seattle Seahawks. James, you are indeed on the clock.
It's all go here, isn't it?
Isn't it just? We've got arguments and dissension, forgotten trades.
I'm not sure you'd be able to move from 23rd to 4th for that.
In this fucking room, you can.
I know, but
Last year, you dissented over Debo. This year, you dissented over trades. Back in your box.
Do you know, this is probably one of my favourite days of the year.
Really?
I love this.
I hate this with a passion.
I'm having a whale of a time.
Do you know what the problem with this year's draft is? I don't actually care about very many of the players.
thing
None of
is,
them are that
Not-
good.
It's not a great draft.
It's 2013 all over
as
again.
well, you are. I know I've supported him more than most, but like you are giving up a lot and I know I get Kirk will need a new contract or whatever, but that is a lot to give up to just write him off immediately. Like,
Well, you're not writing him off, but
You
they're
are
not
if you-
like
if you are, if you
they're
want
not
to-
going to pay him again, are
getting
they?
rid of all of that draft capital to move up, you are, aren't you? Didn't motivate Aaron Rodgers.
Kirk Cousins is not Aaron Rodgers. Wait, are we having this argument again?
With the 5th overall selection, the Seahawks take Jalen Carter, defensive tackle out of Georgia. We're back on track. This is a solid pick for a team that loves going defense early.
Yeah.
Love it. I really like that.
Hey, some sense.
I did think about taking a quarterback here. I'll be honest with you, because the Geno Smith contract,
Era.
they can get out of it after a year.
You know they are not big on
No,
quarterbacks.
and I don't think, but I think that offense is working well enough. And last
That is
season
not the
it was
focus,
the,
is
it
it?
was the defense that let them down. I
Have
think
they
this
still
gives
got
them
Drew Lock as backup?
yeah, Exactly, quality backup. Adding more defensive firepower makes this team much more.
And this is a team that has Jamal Adams coming back. And I
Yeah,
know
exactly.
people have his doubters, but he's still a great player.
Yeah.
He is indeed. The 6th overall selection should now be on the clock. This is the Lions. John, it's you.
So the thing that makes them
Frantically
interesting
writing. Yes.
is the gambling for me, because they've lost Jameson Williams for the first 6 games.
Yeah. I don't.
There's no wide receiver at this point, though, that you'd go for, even with Jameson. And they didn't have Jameson Williams
But-
most of last year, did they?
But he looked good when he came in the last few games.
Did these 4 players bet on Lions games?
Well, the ones that have been released have just NFL games.
Jameson Williams bet whilst in the Lions facility,
But not on
the NFL.
Yeah.
But that was enough for him to be banned.
Really?
That's why he only got 6.
And
games
yet
back,
they
but
just
not
want to
on-
partnering up with betting firms. I don't really understand what the problem is. It seems ridiculous to me.
Like the John and Jim draft, isn't it?
The Las Vegas Raiders, Paul, you are on the clock while I announce the 6th overall pick. The Detroit Lions take edge rusher Tyree Wilson. That is going to be some combo with Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah, I think the Lions, more line depth. I think they can be quite an exciting defense.
You are all about the depth, aren't you?
Exactly that. That's a very simple pick for me.
With the 7th overall selection, the Las Vegas Raiders take Christian Gonzalez, cornerback from Oregon. That feels like a reach for me, Paul, if I'm honest. A bit high.
Oh, I wouldn't have thought that.
Oh, wanker. I was about to take him next.
When I've looked at every bit, I googled the Raiders and just had a look at who their fans and who experts picked, and every one of them had him as the first selection for them.
Wow. I think they've got a lot of needs. I don't know if they're going to go cornerback that early. They've got just so many holes on that roster.
The reason I went defense is because Garoppolo's fine. Garoppolo's fine this season. You've still got
Half of it.
Yeah.
for those 9 games, he's going to be great.
By the way, the 8th overall selection, the Falcons, you are.
Gary.
I did
is
offer
on the
Paul
clock.
the 4th pick as the Cardinals, because I was like, Garoppolo, you probably want a quarterback who can play more than 6 games. But yeah, he didn't take it.
I mean, it also
The
helps.
Raiders will be moving up to take a quarterback, surely.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think they'll move up.
No,
I think
I
they
don't
will
think
take
they
one
came
at
out
some
this week
point.
and said having Jimmy doesn't change them taking a quarterback.
Yeah, they won't necessarily take one in the first round.
I love the fact that our clock just says 2 minutes all the time.
It does. Yeah, it hasn't. It has. John's not had a chance to press the button on the clock
mean,
yet.
I
also-
can't even see the clock. to be
If
honest
any
with you.
family's going to select Stetson Bennett, the Davis family are going to select Stetson Bennett.
It's true.
So with the 8th overall selection, the Falcons take Miles Murphy from Clemson, defensive line, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
Jim
Edge rusher.
Edge
is
rusher.
on the clock.
Another edge rusher.
Yeah, another edge.
Even though we don't really know what an edge rusher is
I
still.
wasn't sure he was still going to be here. I was going to take Gonzalez. The Falcons need all sorts. They've got, they've got Heineke and Ridder at quarterback, so they're looking to build some
So they've got
depth.
no quarterbacks.
Well, they've got averagely bad quarterbacks, haven't they? Which they're happy to ride with whilst they rebuild the entire thing. So I think it starts with defense. So
Jim, your Chicago Bears are up next. So far, then, no major surprises. Anthony Richardson, the highest reach for me.
I think I've got a surprise for you.
Oh, good. Excellent stuff. You're not going to get your knob out again, are you?
Nah.
Okay, Jim.
Taking bumper pull.
apparently I've gone quite early as well, haven't I? On Miles Murphy.
Wow, yeah, a little, but...
I think he is the best player available. And this is the most exciting pick.
With the 9th overall selection, the Chicago Bears take Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. I mean, if a running back goes this early, Paul will grow hair again.
Honestly, there's absolutely no reason why he shouldn't go this early, based on the fact that he's a top 3 player in the draft. He's one of the few blue chip players in this draft.
He really is. Nobody takes running backs.
I know, but you think Justin Fields, DJ Moore, Bijan Robinson,
Claypool.
Chase Claypool, that's now turning into an offense, which is like, all right, that looks exciting.
I could be wrong, but I was listening to our draft from last year. I don't think we took a running back in the first round last year.
No, I don't think we did.
Between the 4 of you.
I would look.
And the year before, I think there was only one. One?
Captain Smugwash is on the clock.
Yes, one. Right.
I took Najee Harris.
And Nunji Harris. How's that worked out for you?
I took him to the Steelers, and he was fine.
And he's been flying. So, with the 10th overall pick on the clock, it's Gary with the Eagles, his favourite team. Just like to point out, he's always said he's a massive Niners fan.
Eagles fan.
He is a big Eagles fan.
I tried to mock this whole draft, trying to get into the mind of everyone, which of course was stupid because I had to try and work out Paul. But I had B.J. Robertson in everyone going 9, 10, 11.
Really? Okay, fair enough.
I
would say a lot of people are going to mock this draft.
Who's that?
I thought you would have taken Bijan Robinson at 10
So,
to the Eagles.
No,
No?
you'll find out.
No, I know you can't
But-
now, but
so no, well, he definitely can't now.
D-line.
He's all about the D, obviously. There's a minute left on the clock. You can move that clock on, John. It'll be the Tetons up next. That is you, indeed, John. So, with the number 10 selection, the Eagles take BJ Ojulari, edge rusher out of LSU. This is my guy as well. I like this guy.
Yeah, they've obviously got weaker with the off-season moves. The Eagles, so massive part obviously last year. You know, most sacks in history. So they need to rebuild. I think they've got to spend it on defensive players. They've got enough, you know, at wide receiver. You know, O-line would be nice to improve a little bit, but that defense needs to be as good next year if you're going to compete at the top echelons of the NFC.
Yeah, I think
I got the
that's
word
fair.
echelons. in there
You
as well.
absolutely did. Paul's thinking heavily now about the next move for the Texans as well, I can tell. Oh!
Although apparently, according to these draft rankings, I'm having a mare this year.
The 11th selection for the Tetons is in. Peter Skoronski, tackle or guard.
He could go earlier than that.
I mean,
He's on the board at 11.
they have to take him.
They have to take him. I will also, I will shave my head. Like, he is going so early. This guy is incredible. He's so, he can play across the line.
Phenomenal length.
Like,
no, he hasn't actually.
no, but like literally,
It's not all about the length, James.
like the guy.
That's the
It's
one-
what you can do with it.
That's the one knock on him is his arm length, which is why they reckon
arm length.
he'll be knocked from tackle into guard. So
Yeah.
he could be one of the best guards that we've seen for
But,
some time.
like people going, this guy, like has, like Canton level, talent, but you're like, you know, let's see. But I don't think he falls to the Titans.
The Texans, Paul, you are indeed on the clock. And that is the quickest pick of the day. With the 12th overall selection, the Houston Texans take Jackson Smith and Jigba, wide receiver, Ohio State. Paul, the Texans, as you've told me earlier, are sticking in your world with Davis Mills at quarterback. Is this the weapon he needs to show some talent?
They've just lost a 1,000-yard receiver.
They did.
So I feel Smith and Jigba's the best wideout in the draft class.
I agree.
I think he's an exciting player. And I don't think the Texans have had anything exciting happen to them. Well, since
Nothing exciting and legal has happened in the Texans.
it's been exciting and entertaining, just not very positive.
Yeah, I think that's fair. A bit like this podcast sometimes.
Yeah.
With the 13th overall selection, Gary, the New York Jets are indeed on the clock.
So we will announce the trade that I'm hoping you've remembered.
Well, I have got this one down, so, you know, a point to me.
So there is a trade. So the Jets acquire Aaron Rodgers for their second round, 43rd pick, and also a move back from the 13th to 15th. So they swap positions. So actually, the Packers are now on
The Packers are indeed on the clock, and the Jets have their quarterback for the next
Aaron
couple of
Rodgers
years.
for a second round pick.
Do we believe on the night this is what happens? Something
I
similar
think
to
it'll be
this.
something similar, you know.
Because it has to happen on the night, right? They can't leave it.
Yesterday they were back in communication. We did it like this so we could talk about it in the first round.
Yeah.
But we think the value, me and Jim, I think, initially said like 4th rounder or something because his contracts are big.
Yeah.
You know,
It's also because we don't like him.
but
That doesn't help.
you know,
See,
I think it could be a second and some other late round picks.
I think
I think the second round is probably.
I think you're probably right.
I think it will happen during the draft weekend, whether
Yeah,
it happens
but
on the,
like I say,
on the
they've
first
opened
night.
communication again. So let's
I'm
wait
fairly
and
sure
see.
the NFL want it to happen over the draft weekend. So, the Green Bay Packers are selecting Dalton Kincaid, tight end, Utah.
Nice.
This is one of the strongest parts of this draft class, the tight end situation.
So Robert Tonyan went, didn't he?
I do not know. I will take your word for that. But,
I don't believe Robert Tonyan's on the Green Bay roster anymore. And if we've moved on in this scenario, we've moved on from Aaron Rodgers, you've got to give Jordan Love a try.
Jordan Love has to have a full season. They have to surround him with talent. We've seen him in, 2 games since he's been in the NFL?
This is the time to give him a chance. And for me, give him the best tight end you can in the draft. You're giving him a chance.
We mentioned a couple of weeks ago, whereas you'd probably go, we need a receiver. Now I think this year, because the tight ends are so good, you look for a playmaker, and I think Kincaid is a playmaker.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Freaky athlete.
So they got a first-round wideout last year.
That is true. They did. Jim, the New England Patriots are on the clock with the 14th overall selection, one of their highest picks in the last 2 decades.
I am aware.
You are aware, are you? Oh, that's a joy. I'm glad. What shit are you going to serve up for my team? Might as well notch it while we're talking about the Patriots that Matt Patricia has indeed signed to be defensive assistant at the Eagles. Word on the street being he did not want to work with Bill O'Brien and felt there was too much competition for input as coaching with the Patriots.
You think they'd have a lot in common, both being terrible head coaches?
Well, I think the problem is that Patricia did not get moved back to the defensive side of the ball. So he would now be under Bill O'Brien. And he obviously does not feel that that's something he can accept. This is the longest we've waited for a pick. We are down to 35 seconds for Jim to get his pick in, or he will forfeit and we will move on.
God, just imagine him ruining the
I
Patriots.
know, wouldn't it be terrible?
Wouldn't that be awful?
He's probably waiting now.
I might just wait. yeah.
That's okay. I'm okay with this. We are going to suck so bad this year. If the Jets get Aaron Rodgers, we will finish bottom of that
I
division.
think I like this pick.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
I dread to think.
Go on then.
Fool.
So with 10 seconds on the clock, the 14th overall pick, the Patriots take Paris Johnson Jr., offensive tackle out of Ohio. I don't mind it. You've got to get all in behind Mac Jones this year. Give him a chance to be the best player he can be under Bill O'Brien. And then if it doesn't work, we can bump him off and move on.
Yeah, one of your tackles is Riley Reef at the moment.
Oh.
I don't know that. I did think about cornerback here, but the Patriots have got a habit of finding cornerbacks in free agency and undrafted free agents and making them into brilliant players. So now I'll take the most premium blue chip tackle I think there is on the board.
And he really is that.
Yeah.
Gary, this will be you with the Jets, the newly minted Aaron Rodgers-led Jets. Oh, the pick is in. Much quicker than Jim, that's what I've heard. New York Jets, Broderick Jones, offensive tackle out of Georgia. Excellent work. Again, the team, they need to keep Aaron Rodgers upright, give him that second and a half to pick out the amazing playmakers.
Yeah, look, I think there's so many pieces there, isn't there, in the Jets, offensively. If you had Aaron Rodgers, you've got to just protect him. He wants to go there and be the hero, so why not do it? Make sure you're picking to protect him. If you could, I think if the Jets could make that move, second rounder, pick a top 3 tackle as well to go with Rodgers by giving up a first round and a second round pick and a couple of shitty ones at the end, they'll be well happy. I would be happy.
John Farrow, you are on the clock with the Washington Commanders. Now, this is a team that needs everything, including stable ownership. You cannot pick that up in the draft.
I like the way Paul's dressed in support of the Commanders.
It does look a bit like he is dressed supporting the Commanders, which I know he is not. Surely. Switching allegiances in the NFC East?
When it comes to legal problems. I'm not going to finish that sentence.
No, I really wouldn't choose to do that. Clock is ticking, Johnson. He's down to a minute here.
It's got to take so long to go through that folder.
He's got his curry sweats on. He's working hard.
He's not opened a page on that folder.
The rest of them are blank. It's just that first one. Oh, the pick is in, dismissively, by the way, throwing it across the table at the commissioner.
Going cornerback.
16th overall pick, Deron Witherspoon, cornerback for the Washington Commanders. I don't know if this is enough to address any of their issues, but it's a solid start. You've got to start somewhere. They're not going to win much this year.
Just take the best player on the board, which he probably is at this point. They're all, none of them are particularly exciting.
Nobody else is going to make another impact over what he can do.
No, the defensive line needs retooling,
Overhaul.
but it's still fine this year. Add some players in. At least that way they...
Do you not think with the Commanders it's more about adding in small pieces to the talent they have and making it all work together? They have not yet had all the different pieces they've got work together. They're rarely all on the field at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. Another one I considered moving forward, because they don't really have a quarterback. I know they've got the bloke from last year, but I don't know.
The bloke from last year.
Kenny Pickett?
No.
Yes, you can.
That's the Steelers.
That's the
He's talking
Steelers.
about the Commanders.
I know.
I've forgotten his name.
I'm looking at the draft board. I'm not paying attention to you.
But yeah, I think that you can just pick the best
They're not
player
even
at
your
the moment.
pick.
Okay, that's halfway through the first round. We'll take a short break so we can reconvene in a moment. So we're back in the room, and Gary, you are on the clock with the 17th overall pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I think I need a little bit more time.
I should imagine
All
you
for
do.
inches.
Your 2 minutes are
It's
ticking
on
down. The selection is in. The 17th overall pick is Nolan Smith, outside linebacker or edge rusher from Georgia. It's another Georgia player. Is that 4 we've had so far, I believe?
I've taken half of them at least. Yeah, look, great player. I think that's a position that will really help the Steelers. They obviously took the quarterback they were happy to take last year, so keep building that defense. And it's the kind of pick I can see the Steelers making, I have to admit. I
I
think,
like that pick.
there's plenty of opportunity there.
Him and TJ Watt on one side, him on the other.
The defence is going to be amazing. Was anybody actually impressed by Kenny Pickett last year? No, that's what I thought. He was rubbish. Okay, he was just disappointing. He wasn't rubbish. He was just disappointing.
The only other area is the O-line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got to make sure the O-line's right, make sure the running game's right. But I think it's a very Mike Tomlin pick. On another side note, did you see Mike Tomlin's son is now playing in college as well? And
He didn't like the celebration.
like the celebration.
No, I did see
It
that.
was quite cool.
John, you are on the clock. Oh, John, you have a selection for the Lions.
Quick.
I have picked the person I expect to go to the Steelers.
Joey Porter Jr., cornerback for the Detroit Lions. Yeah, I mean, the Lions, we all think that they've improved, but there's still a lot of pieces they need to fill in. This is a solid pick for them.
They got rid of that bloke to the Falcons. I've forgotten his.
Brilliant.
The third, the
Jeff Okudah.
Jeff Okudah didn't work. He looked.
He
Headless.
wasn't very good.
They've got
No fucking way. Sorry.
Sorry, this is worth
Breaking news,
this
breaking
is worth
news.
interrupting for.
Oh.
Packers and Jets have agreed to a mega trade, sending 4-time MVP Aaron Rodgers to Jets for a major compensation. Finally, this is via Ian Rappaport. Sorry.
Rapid parcel.
The deal includes a second rounder this year, a first round pick swap this year, and a conditional first rounder in 2024.
Oh, Gary, nailed it. But a conditional first rounder next year.
Yeah.
So if they make the playoffs, they get a first rounder next year.
I reckon it's if he hasn't retired.
Wow.
Well,
That's
I'm going to
big.
say
We
fucking
did
Spot
start
on.
recording before this came out.
Spot on.
Yeah, me and Paul agreed to this trade. Sunday night?
That's,
Last week.
I was at a karate tournament yesterday afternoon.
So that's
Hang
what
on,
that's
you
what-
don't do karate.
No, that's what he was worth. It's
I don't know what I get.
it's the right trade, and
So
that is
that from Rapport was exactly 6 minutes ago. On
that is
Twitter.
fucking amazing. Well played, Paul.
Well done. Well done indeed. Well, the,
Sorry.
We
for
showed
the
them the way.
interruption,
We
but
showed them the way.
the Patriots just became the 4th best team in the AFC East.
But now back to Jeff Okudah.
Yeah, tell me more about Jeff Okudah, do tell me about his stellar play.
The Lions need cornerback help. They need defensive help. He helps. But yeah, back
The
to
19th overall selection is in. Paul has beaten me to the clock, so you can start it running for the 20th selection, which will be Jim with the Seahawks again. The 19th overall pick for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers from Kentucky Wildcats, it's Will Levis, quarterback. So who are they playing this year? Baker at quarterback this year. I think you will see Will Levis by about week 8 if Baker is starting under centre. There seems to be a lot of wildly differing opinion over whether or not this fella can make it in the NFL.
Well, I went on personality because for a guy who, puts mayonnaise in his coffee and eats bananas with the skin on.
Was it him I saw the video of this week where he was on his knees and he threw the ball through the sticks from the halfway line?
Yes.
That is some mega upper body strength.
This is a weird guy. And this is someone who goes into a quarterback room that already has a weird guy.
Yeah. They'll probably get on. It'll be fine. Jim, the Seahawks, the clock is counting down. A minute to go.
Ages, yeah.
Wait, yeah, but that was started quite late by the producer there, producer John.
It's just on the clock.
Okay, that's
You've got to take what's on the clock.
That's true. You do have to take what's on the clock. Always. That's what my ex-wife used to say. I've
Do
got
we think
nothing.
that's what the Bucks will actually do? Do we reckon we'll leave this?
I think they will take a quarterback.
Every draft I've seen does not have this guy available this low.
I was going to
No.
say he's very low, isn't he? Yeah.
But there will be one of the 5 that could go in the first round
So
available.
I think the Falcons could take a quarterback still.
So do I.
The
I don't think they're sold on
I
Ridder.
think the Texans will take a quarterback.
I think it's likely. Jim, is the pick in? Thank you for
It is.
being so dismissive. With the 20th overall selection, the Seahawks take edge rusher Luke Van Ness. It's a solid name. I really like this.
He's not going this late.
Family Ness.
I agree.
I'm not sure.
Doubling
I don't
down
know.
on the Seahawks defensive line. That's 2 picks for a rebooted defensive line now for the Seahawks with Jalen Carter and Van Ness on the edge.
The edge.
The edge.
Oh, on the edge.
On a edge.
Not the
An
edge from
edge.
U2.
No, not the edge.
Right. We're skipping over the 22nd selection. That would have been the Dolphins, but they interfered with someone. So, Gary, you're on the clock with the Chargers and the 23rd overall selection.
21st, isn't it?
21st overall selection. Sorry. Apologies. Too many numbers. I'm very tired and the screen isn't as big as I need it these days. I don't have glasses yet. It's clearly not long till I need them.
4th and inches.
You pressed the wrong button, haven't you?
Gary is on the clock.
Well, actually, no.
Well,
About 5.
15 jobs.
Try not to press the one I'm not allowed to touch for Gary.
Oh, no. Call him Captain Smugwash at every opportunity. So with the 21st overall selection, the Chargers are taking wide receiver Zay Flowers from Boston College.
Yes, they are.
Is this the replacement for Keenan Allen?
Well, maybe. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen with Keenan Allen, but they've been too heavily reliant on Keenan Allen in the last 2 years. And
When he goes missing, they struggle.
well, when he's injured.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what I
you mean.
mean,
When
yeah.
he's injured. And obviously, Herbert is, he's an amazing talent. You've got to put some more pieces around him. They've invested heavily into defense over the last few years. You could take another edge rusher and another edge rusher, but just keep the ones you've got fit and you'll be all right.
Jim, you
Jim
are on the clock,
is on
22nd
the
selection
clock.
for the Ravens. Obviously, they've already made their bumper trade in this round and are now acquired a new starting quarterback in our world, Anthony Richardson, which is going to be interesting. Anywhere between Lamar and Tebow is what I'm seeing for Anthony Richardson.
Tebow made the playoffs.
Tebow did make the playoffs. Let's never forget that. He also completed 46% of his passes that year.
Between Tebow and Lamar just sounds insane fun. I don't care. That just sounds. I want to watch that.
Would you like to be stuck between Tebow and Lamar?
I think he'd be T-boned if he was stuck between those two.
I'd love that. I think Tebow would have to like Harry carry himself if that was the case of a.
I've got no idea what kind of realm that just moved.
I don't know. I don't want
Is that what turned him into a tight end?
to. I really hope not.
40 seconds, Jim.
He's working. He's working hard over there, slaving away.
30 seconds, Jim.
How many of the top 5 quarterbacks are still on the board here? Just one.
Hook up.
Hendon Hooker. Oh, the 22nd selection is in.
Sounds like he's from Police Academy, doesn't he? Hendon Hooker.
I mean, as if I'm going to pronounce this properly. The Ravens have taken defensive tackle out of Pittsburgh, Kalijah Canley.
Kalijah Cansey.
I wasn't even close. Okay. I don't know anything about this player, I won't lie. Go on, this is not one that
He's a
I'm familiar
defensive
with.
tackle, and the Ravens need help on the defensive line because Calais Campbell isn't there anymore, so it's a replacement for him. He's not the same size as Calais
Very few
Campbell.
people are the same
Very
size
few
as
people are.
Calais Campbell.
He's a lot shorter and a lot lighter, but he has got a lot of speed through the middle.
John's trying to look clever. He's flicking through his massive catalogue of players.
Do you know who I felt?
This is like Grindr before they sent it online,
Also,
isn't it?
I'm going to run out of slips, by the way, if someone's got a spare one, i.e. Gary.
Do you know who I felt really sorry for?
Who did you feel really sorry for?
The guy who made Calais Campbell's shirts when he did coverage over here.
Yeah. They looked like they were fit to burst at all times, didn't they? They really did. Next up on the clock is John,
I made sure his time was ticking, don't you?
Arizona Cardinals.
Looking for his big fucking Burke, thinking he's like some sort of fucking
It's
librarian.
literally an Argos catalogue
fucking
for men.
embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
It's fucking embarrassing.
Yeah, but you think about it. When,
That's
he-
just
fucking
harsh.
screenshot the bits you need.
when Arizona Cardinals take E817 a
Look at the trees.
dehumidifier,
Look at the trees.
Why can't I'm screenshotting? You're looking at it. I have to put my thing on the fucking board. The wheel. I have to. My laptop is using the wall.
I love how you get not just a peek behind the curtain, but the curtain gets burnt down.
50 seconds, mate.
It's just a night of like seeing John's true colours.
This is chaotic this year.
It's more
but
chaotic than normal.
That's okay. That's okay. That's no problem at all.
It's John's book. I think it's called
The book, the Bible of men, has
Keep thinking
seriously
he's
thrown
gonna
it.
say a spell or something.
Thank you. The 23rd pick is in. The Arizona Cardinals take who? Cornerback Deontay
Banks.
Pronounce it for me.
Banks.
Banks. Oh, is that what you've written? That looks like Barty. Deontay Barty. Banks I've heard of.
Deontay Banks.
Deontay Banks.
A cornerback, the best cornerback available. They need help on anywhere.
Quick question with the Cardinals. Is the problem not still that they spent all their money on Kyler and he's shit?
Yeah. As well,
Just checking.
Their best player is a safety, and he wants out as well. Apart
Buda
from,
Baker, yeah.
Apart from Nuke Hopkins, who also wants out. So, yeah, it's an absolute shit show at the Cardinals. They just need more picks.
I mean, I feel comfortable in a world where the Cardinals aren't very good, but they have released their first new uniforms in a decade. All red.
They're very 49ers-y, aren't
They're
they?
very 49ers-y.
Like-
but they've got silver flake in them.
Yeah. And yeah, but other than that,
Sexy.
Yeah, it's very 49ers.
Have they realised we're in the same fucking division?
Yeah, they're just trying to mimic you.
Well, they've tried that, but they're just shit.
It doesn't help. I'm glad we've had that informed opinion. So next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's Jim, 24th overall selection.
Can someone remind me who the Ravens picked? I was in mad research mode at the time.
The Ravens took
Kalagi, someone.
Kansey,
There you go.
defensive tackle from Pittsburgh. This is mainly for our purposes to go up on our board.
Yeah, we have a very big board.
Picks
and then-
remaining. So after Jim's Jaguars, we have the Giants, the Cowboys, the Bills, Bengals, Saints, Eagles, and Chiefs.
It's amazing to think, isn't it? The Eagles have had two picks in this draft. 10th and 30th. That is amazing for a team that went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive and pretty scary, actually, for a team that could carry on building and seem to have unearthed a very good head coach, which is key.
But this could have the ability to have what happened with Doug Pedersen in terms of he's lost his
Love and feeling.
yeah, that's right. Because Gannon's gone to Arizona, hasn't he? He's
Yep.
DC.
Yep.
And who was his OC?
I can't. Was it Shane Steichen?
Yeah.
Who's gone as well?
He has indeed. And this is the problem, like you say, when good staffing relationships are built up and they win things, they then get broken up so people can move on and be head coaches themselves.
40 seconds, Jim.
I'm writing a tweet, mate.
He's very busy right now, apparently, just waiting for things to tick by. Here we go. We've got the pick in.
Genuinely was writing a tweet as well. I did pick up.
John, you are next on the clock with the New York Giants, your home team. The 24th overall selection, the Jacksonville Jaguars take Mike Myers, tight end out of Notre Dame. Gary's clearly not happy with that.
You dickhead. I was going to take him to the Cowboys.
This fills a position where you think Trevor Lawrence will be able to benefit immediately from a top quality tight end, yes?
Yeah, and Doug Peterson likes playing with two tight ends. So
That's what got Urban Meyer in trouble, wasn't it?
He's got Evan Ingram there on the franchise tag for another year.
Yep.
Couple him with Mike Myers.
Whoever thought Evan Ingram would get a franchise tag? That is bad.
Bonkers,
Huh?
isn't it?
It is bonkers.
Couple of him with Michael Mayer, to give him his proper name, and that's Calvin Ridley and who else they got there? A wide receiver.
DJ Chark, or did they get rid of DJ Chark?
They got rid of DJ
Christian
Chark.
Kirk.
Christian Kirk, yes.
Got a lot of options there now, isn't he?
Well, yeah, I actually think the Jags start as favourite for that division this year.
And he's still got one of the best running backs going as well.
Yep.
Very much so. John is looking through his manual of men again. He hasn't started his clock, by the way, but we're calling it a minute to go. That's what we think. He's writing frantically.
10.
Jim, have a quick look at the board for me. Tell me who your surprise is still there. John, the 25th overall selection for the New York Giants is Brian Breezy, defensive line. Again, helping Saquon carry on after a good solid year and keeping the face of the franchise upright. I'm guessing that's the plan.
He's a D-line.
Oh, sorry, D-line.
Sexy
Yeah,
Dexy was
okay,
brilliant
I
last
grant
year,
that.
but the guy next to him,
Leonard Williams.
Leonard Williams, he is going to be a cap casualty. So
Oh.
I think he's either got to accept a pay deal or leave, which means he will probably leave. And I think we will have him and Sexy Dexy, and I think that would be quite.
You were once
exciting.
described as a cap casualty, weren't you? Because all your hats ping off because of your massive
Yeah,
head.
they do, yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah, but I think you sort of preempt Williams going by bringing in Breesy.
Fair enough. Dallas Cowboys, Gary, next on the clock, 26th overall pick. John, again, failed to start the clock because he was talking, but I'm calling it a minute to go.
So, whilst Gary's making the selection,
Yeah.
the one thing that I think went under the radar was Brandon Cooks going here. I think that's a fantastic pickup.
I mean, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, couple him with CD
CD Lamb. Yeah.
I think that could be a really
And a
good one.
fit
to see.
again, Michael Gallup.
Yeah,
Yeah. I think
as a tight end.
Yeah.
what they need is consistency out of their quarterback is what they've been missing. They need Dak to turn up every week, and it doesn't get said enough how much he doesn't do that. He plays really well, or he doesn't turn up. Right, with the 26th overall selection, a quarterback.
Quarterback.
Yeah, I know. I was only kidding. I can't read your handwriting at all, but with the Cowboys take Forbes, cornerback from Mississippi State.
Emmanuel Forbes.
Emmanuel Forbes. Oh, he looks like Edmund Forbes. I didn't know who
You've
he
seen
was.
the film Edmund, haven't you?
I have seen the film. Yeah.
Edmund in space.
So regarding this, the Cowboys, they signed a cornerback last week or the week before in free agency as well. Now I cannot remember who it is. So I think they've got some strong contenders because they've still got Diggs, haven't they? That's going to be a back end to be feared in the rest of the division, I think. But they've got to keep up with what the Eagles are doing.
I think the thing is, they would have wanted a tight end. So I was going to take a tight end, but the two top ones were off the board, and I personally didn't think anyone else was worth a first round
I've heard
shot.
good stuff about Darnell Washington.
So
What
there were the
sort of stuff?
options.
Like, he's
But
nice to his mum.
If you look now, we talk about it all the time. Cornerback in this league is a position that wins matches, and actually teams struggle with cornerback. I don't think it's a problem having strength in depth at cornerback. So that's
Stephon Gilmore.
would
That's
do.
who I was trying to think of. They signed Stephon Gilmore. Yeah, absolutely. So next up with the 27th overall selection, it's Jim again. Seems to have all the selections this evening. Anybody else notice that? His clock is ticking down, though. He's the Bills last season was a disappointment. Can they be as strong again as the last two seasons, or do they have to start slipping back to the pack?
Well, they've built such a team now that almost not getting to a Super Bowl is a disappointment.
Yes.
I think they're up for a much tougher year this year. I think they're
We'll look at the Jets
not
now.
as strong as last year, and the division's going to be tougher.
Oh, and
So I think they might have missed their window. It'd be interesting to see.
Where the hell's the clock gone?
Gary stole it. Gary stole the clock. The 27th overall selection. Oh, it's Osiris Torrance. Oh, we love this. Guard, Florida Gators. It's a great name, if not the best name in the first round so far. Talk me through the thinking here. Is this protecting Josh Allen?
No. Well, I mean, yeah, that helps. It's more about the running game. So they've got some quality running backs, and I and ahed a lot about trying to get the Bills into the top 10 to target Bijan Robinson, and I couldn't do it.
No, you did try. You did try.
Really couldn't do it, and I couldn't warrant what it cost to go up there and get a running back. So this is to hopefully make the running game in Buffalo a little bit better. With Roger Saffold gone, they need a replacement at guard.
Gary is now holding the clock aloft, like one of the grid girls or a walk-on girl in the darts. Do we think the walk-on girls should have been banned? Just out of interest while we're talking.
Walk on boys. That
So
could have been the
if
future.
Gary starts wearing a bikini right now, I'm leaving.
I'm not. I'm staying. There was no dissenting voices there. Everyone feels walk-on girls should have been allowed to stay.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Kept models employed.
Don't some of the sports still just do it anyway?
I think I believe some of them have kept on.
I've got no more picks left now.
Have you not? Are
After
you
my
done?
flurry of picks there, you commented on. I'll take over
You take over the clock. Clock duties.
management.
He's on Cotton.
Oh, the pick is in with 40 seconds on the clock. The 28th overall selection to the Bungles is Brian Branch, safety, Alabama.
Nice.
Like this. This is a strong player left on the board as there is.
You look at their needs, and obviously I wanted to draft my next Jelani Woods,
Obviously.
but they've lost Jesse Bates, and that's
have.
a hell of a hole that you need to fill. And luckily, I know how to fill a hole.
I've heard this about you.
So,
As long as it's quite a short hole.
and Brian Branch is the best safety from the research I've done by a country
He
mile.
is easily the best safety on the board, yeah. I don't think there's much arguing with that.
I don't think he'd be available for the Bengals at that pick.
It would be a surprise, but then how far off can we be? Last year we nailed exactly 2 first-round picks.
And who did that, by the way?
You.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it was you. Absolutely. The New Orleans Saints next up. It was originally a pick belonging to the 49ers.
5 of the right players, the right teams.
John, with the 29th overall pick, John has taken... I can't read that. Linebacker. Drew Sanders. Learn to write, people. I cannot get excited about the Saints this season, even though they have appointed a head coach that I like to see in the league. I just think they are so far behind that I don't know where to start with. Like, signing Derek Carr just does not inspire me because I don't think they have enough to make the team competitive in a poor division.
Griff, I'm going to need all of these 2 minutes, I think. On
Wow.
Going to have to do some filling here, aren't we? What do you think for the Saints? Wide receiver? Did I hear a trade?
Well, it was been muted. I'm waiting for...
Rumours.
Took away all the fucking...
There's rumours on Twitter.
all the
there's a
drama,
trade
didn't you,
coming.
John? So, yes.
to look for players. I was like, fuck.
So, with the 30th pick, there is a trade.
There is a trade. This one I've got down.
So, the Eagles trade away the 30th pick for Derrick Henry. So, the Titans received the 30th pick. The Eagles received Derrick Henry.
Boom. Love
Thoughts
it.
on that, boys?
I mean, it might be slightly expensive for a guy who's clearly battered as fuck, but there probably isn't a better player left to
Do you
take.
look when they bought LeGarrette Blunt in that team?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just put an absolute hammer in, and
Yeah,
LeGarrette
the
Blunt
thing
was
is-
done in the league.
Yeah.
wasn't
You
he?
know, obviously, Derrick Henry played a few games less last year, and actually he was out and then came back in for the last couple of games.
Yeah.
And actually, so I think he'll come back fitter this season. He still had a great season when you look at his numbers last year. If you're the Eagles, looking at the age of some of their team, you want to try and win in the next 2 years. And I think me and John talked about this, I wouldn't give away the 10th pick for Derrick Henry.
No.
But the 30th pick...
You won't get many
felt-
better players. Yeah.
Felt reasonable, and it was like, do you know what? I'm in win now. I've got a fucking great team already. The run game is so important to the Eagles. It's so important to what Jalen Hurts does. Why wouldn't you get Derrick Henry? There is loads of talk that this is being worked on already. AJ Brown's been there saying, come and join me.
Are we looking to see whether we're nailing 2 correct trades in one evening?
Well, look, it could happen.
Remarkable.
Twitter's still a washabout with Aaron Rodgers.
Is it? Well,
I
of
think
course it is.
if you're the Eagles and you get a new edge rusher and Derrick Henry, you are very happy. Out of this
The
draft.
Tetons with the 30th overall pick. Wow. They have indeed traded the 30th overall pick to the San Francisco 49ers for Trey Lance. Oh, I love it. Oh, I love this. So now the 49ers, they will select with the 30th overall selection cornerback Cam Smith. Oh, I like this. Building from the back. The Tetons may have their quarterback of the future. The Niners have a cornerback that can start fairly soon and be competitive in the league. John, I like this work.
No wonder you're sweating.
I know, it's really hot. It's really fucking hot in here. And it's a lot of thinking. For me, I just think Lance needs to move. I think from everything they're saying, the 49ers believe they're going to go forward with Purdy.
Purdy will start, yeah.
And the longer that Lance isn't start playing for the 49ers, there's it hurts.
Yeah.
And I think moving on, he can sit because he's going to start the season injured, which means he can sit behind Tannehill, let Tannehill get hit, and then Tetons need to start building a team around
What does
him.
this say for Malik Willis?
I think Malik Willis is a fine practice squad player. But it was an experiment worth taking.
I'll tell you why I asked that. Is Malik Willis not the sort of player that then the Niners would pick up and turn into a serviceable starter when all their other players get injured?
Possibly, but
that's how it feels.
The 49ers are lucky to have Shanahan and a scheme that can
accommodate
these players. The Titans don't.
The 31st and final pick in the draft is the Chiefs. It's Paul. He's on the clock. He's writing furiously. And the pick is indeed in. The Kansas City Chiefs take Jordan Addison, wide receiver, USC, the last player taken in the first round. Is that a wide receiver 2 years running in the first round that the Chiefs have taken?
For me,
us,
there's a gap.
For us, yeah.
There's a gap with Juju going.
Yeah.
And also, McCole Hardman's left the team as well, so there's a gap in there. And Jordan
hasn't turned up anywhere else yet, though, has he?
No.
There's a chance he's back there, but yeah, I see what you're saying. I think it's a good selection.
Jordan Addison is exciting. He's quick as hell, and he seems, for me, he's a natural replacement for either one of them.
Yeah, I absolutely like this pick. It's spot on.
Not many reaches on our board this year, are there? What's the highest ranked player on there? Like 37 or something.
BJ Ojolari is the worst selection in terms of difference.
Well, we will properly mull over this by not only draft order but by position when we come back after this short break. So we're back in the room. We've had controversy, people forgetting that they've agreed trades that they didn't realise had happened, and some interesting selections, but not as many reaches as we've had in the past. Will Greer, it hadn't been mentioned this evening. I just thought I'd better thumb that one in for you.
Kiki Kuti.
Kiki Kuti. Well, in the end, he turned out to be a very valuable special teams player. Let's quickly go back over the draft then. It seems like a lifetime ago, but Bryce Young was the first player off the board to the Panthers. This is the most likely outcome in reality, no?
This is what's been said.
It's what all the speculation is suggesting, isn't it?
I think so. I really think that's the way they're going to go. Almost certainly, because the Panthers have come out and said we have not told him he'll definitely be the number one pick because the NFL don't want anyone to know who it's going to be. Second overall, Paul, you took Will Anderson Jr. to the Texans. Still happy with that decision that you decided to explain to us very early on?
Now,
I don't think you needed a timeout to explain it to us.
But I was expecting more controversy in the room. I don't think the Texans will do this for anything.
I think they will. I think they will.
Well, maybe it might not be Will Anderson. It might be Tyree Wilson. But I don't think they're taking a quarterback at 2.
I do think they should. Like they might fuck it up and not. Or do you just think they're going to be shit this year again?
I'm not saying they shouldn't. I'm saying I don't think they will.
Don't forget who the best quarterback on their roster is.
Davis Mills.
Case Keenum.
Case Keenum. Wow. I think where they are, they have D'Amico Ryans now.
Yeah.
Which means it's their first head coach they've had in 3 years now who knows his job isn't over at the end of the season. Mm-hmm. He's got a project, which means you don't have to bring in a quarterback now. You can go with transitional quarterbacks. You can build a team ready for... Because they know as well, next year, they're going to be picking similar positions.
Probably top 5.
Top 5. It's fine. But, yeah, I think you can either build the team and then get a quarterback in it, or you can have a quarterback in now who's you then build a team around. I don't think there's a right or wrong way. I mean, it's the Texans; they'll go the wrong way. But I
can't wait for them to say
Will Anderson Jr. is if it is him or if it's Tyree Wilson, they're exciting players. I don't think it is a massive controversy.
See, I'm seeing a lot of conjecture at the moment about them taking Will Levis.
I think that's the wrong decision.
I agree with you. I think that's the wrong decision, but I've seen a lot of talk that that's going to happen.
If they're not in love with a quarterback, and I mean genuinely in love with a quarterback that's not Bryce Young, then why not take one of the top 3 defensive players? If it's Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, or Jalen Carter. And, to John's point, D'Amico Ryans there, he's been working with a stellar defensive line for the last few years. He wants to replicate that in Houston.
I think the thing is, we obviously probably made more trades this year than we've ever made before, I reckon, as a group.
Yes, I believe so, yes.
And obviously, so we have mixed that board up quite a lot. Like,
49ers getting to the first round.
So the 49ers, you say that, the 49ers have got 11 picks
Yeah, I know. They've got a lot
11
of picks, but not
picks.
until the third round.
Yeah, 11 picks, but there is talk that Trey Lance could go for 3 picks, which would then give the Niners 14 picks to move back up into the draft. So it will be really interesting to see what happens with that. And then, obviously, do we actually think the Ravens are going to ship Lamar?
No, we
We don't think that's going to happen, do we?
No.
So that changes the entire start of what the draft might actually look
I
like.
don't
This
think
is our muddled,
Yeah,
crazy
no,
version,
I agree
you know?
with you, but I don't think it changes it that much if you consider that it's realistic to expect the Cardinals to trade down from 3 to someone who needs a
It's to who,
quarterback.
isn't it? It's
Yeah,
to
it's
who.
to
That's
who.
different.
That's it. I picked the Vikings at 4 because I just wanted the Cardinals to trade down, and they were the most likely.
And do we think that's realistic? That
The Vikings, it's not the
will move up?
Vikings, but I think they're
Could
the
have been the
Vikings.
Titans that traded up.
Titans, but because I'd already
Yeah.
traded for Trey Lance, I couldn't trade the Titans up.
Yeah.
So I was stuck in a position, and I didn't have control of the Raiders, who I think probably could move up.
Even the Falcons could move
Yeah,
up.
there's teams, but I sort of was in a little bit of not control because that's the most likely ones I could move up.
Let's not rule out the Seahawks taking a quarterback at 5 as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
Like I said, the Geno Smith contract, they can get out of that after a year. So who's to
That
say
has
they
got
would?
defensive player all over
No,
it.
I agree with you, but I wouldn't rule it out.
I think the problem with this quarterback class is Bryce Young and CJ Stroud being further ahead than everyone else, regardless of what Jim is doing at 3 with the Ravens here, with Richardson. These two consensus are a step above everyone else. I don't think there's enough teams that are going to look at the rest and think, okay, the players we took last year aren't going to be just as good. Malik Willis, Desmond Ridder, etc. So I don't think there'll be as much movement as we have forecast. It's
think
just
there will.
about Lamar.
I think there will be
I think
a
there will
lot
be.
of movement.
I think the teams that we've moved won't be the teams that move, but I think there will be a lot
I
of
just think it's
movement.
going to be a lot of teams wanting to trade back. I don't think they're going to want to trade up. But
I
that's
think
what
but there are. We were chatting about it off air, and there's not a massive amount of blue chip players in this draft. But for the ones that are there, and the teams that do want them, and who perhaps don't have as many blue chip players on their team, they could draft up. You could see someone draft up for Jalen Carter. If there's a run on offensive tackles, and there's a team, I don't know, if the Jaguars wanted an offensive tackle and they need to trade up to get one, I think you could see trades between 10 and 20 as well.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not sold this year. This is what I found most difficult with it. Is I don't think it's very easy to pick this year. I think in previous years you've looked at teams, they've had one or two maybe key needs, and it's been fairly easy to assign 1 or 2 players per team, and we've been reasonably accurate.
Well,
This
look
year
at
is
that
hard.
board. Like everyone's got like 4 or 5 needs.
Yeah.
4 or 5. Oh, that would help type needs. Not are we desperately need. That would help type needs, and it's just really hard. And I think talent level, as well, from 15 to 50 is anyone's guess.
I was looking through the players we left off, and there's no one I've looked at and gone, we fucked up there.
Whereas some years when we've done this,
Yeah,
we've
we've
gone,
gone,
how on
shit,
earth has he
yeah.
gone to 30?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
There's no one there who's like, we properly messed up there.
I can see, other than that, there's no one I'm going, we missed that badly. But maybe Darnell Washington and Luke Musgrave have a chance of going in the first round. Darnell Wright.
Yeah. Jamal Gibbs, the running back. If there's a second running back that goes in the first round.
Yeah.
Quentin Johnston was the wide receiver we didn't pick out. Even Josh Downs, another wide receiver that could go. Hendon Hooker, the quarterback, could go in the first round.
Normally get 5 go, didn't you? Quarterbacks these days.
Yeah, if they go there. But yeah,
But there's no one that properly sticks out.
No, we'll see. But
Like if any of those players fell to the second round, you're like, okay, yeah.
And like I was saying to Paul earlier, because he mentioned like, what would you do if you were the Texans? And I was like, if there was,
Chop my franchise in.
but
Just
like,
go back to the NFL
Sell.
and sell up.
Yeah.
but
$6 billion, thank you very much.
We've had a nice run, Roger. I'm sorry.
if there was blue chip quarterbacks, then you take them now, stash, whatever. But yeah, there isn't like
No,
there
I
isn't
don't
a
think so.
Joey Burrow and
Joey
Herbert.
Burrow,
Yeah,
Yeah.
Joey B,
Joey B.
JB.
JB, big JB.
Like in that, like a Herbert who you could think, but
This is
it's
the
a really
thing.
strange draft. It's made it more interesting for us as pickers because we've had to really think about this one. But actually, it may go down as quite a boring draft because there's no star.
Look at this, right? Bryce Young and CJ Stroud. Tell me where they fit into the following pair. So Burrow and Herbert, right? Wentz and Goff, Winston and Mariota.
See, now, the problem is, Wentz and Goff have had too much time in the league.
is we know
Both
too
of them
much
have
about
taken teams to a Super Bowl. They did exactly what they were drafted for.
I'm not arguing with you. I'm just asking
No,
you
I
where
know-
you think
I-
the likelihood is
and I-
this pair of top
And
quarterbacks fit in.
I don't see it that you're arguing with me, but it's really hard to see where Wentz and Goff are now because Goff has become just the Dalton level.
Alex Smith.
As well, they both went to decent teams who like traded back for them, and like it's going to be hard to judge. Like, but actually, I think the Panthers have a good chance of improving quite a bit because they're not being run by that coach anymore. God, everyone's just names
Matt Rule.
Matt Rule, fucking hell. Frank Mike is competent. They've got a decent defense. If they can unlock that, I think they're, But yeah, I mean, it's hard to judge because they're going to different teams.
With the teams that drafted them, Goff, Winston, and Mariota were failures.
Yeah.
Wentz is borderline. They got to a Super Bowl because he played really well, but he didn't play there, and then he never played that well again. Fair?
I think he got injured.
Right, yeah, but
The year after the Super Bowl, he was good.
Injured.
He was good.
And he was injured.
He got injured in the playoffs by a dirty hit. Let's not
great
forget.
hit. Great hit.
It was a dirty hit. But yeah, he never then recovered.
No.
I
He
think
never recovered.
if any of those players take their team to a Super Bowl and pass for 4,000 yards, they've done all right.
I'm not disagreeing. I was just asking where you thought Bryce Young and CJ Stroud would sit 5 years from now as a pair of...
I think this is the problem because the Panthers, anyone who goes there, that Panthers team is awful.
Yes.
It's just terrible.
I don't think it'll be as bad. I don't think it's as bad as everyone thinks.
Well, they have given up their wide receiver as well.
What other offensive weapons do they have? And there's the answer.
Yeah, but
Fucking voluminous
But
response.
where's their defensive weapons?
they've got great defense.
Okay, name 3 players on it.
They've got good defence.
Their D line,
Brian Burns.
Brian Burns, brilliant player.
Mr. Burns, yeah. Monty Burns.
They've got. I haven't got the team in front of me, but they have a good team on the defensive half. This is just the start of a process.
Oh,
We're not gonna, we're not gonna be judging the Panthers in a year's time and saying,
It's 5 years from now.
yeah,
Yeah.
No, I appreciate that, but this anybody who goes to this Panthers team, I feel, has the ability to car or couch.
Yeah, I think it's possible, but I don't think the Panthers are as bad as some of those teams. They're not the worst number one picking team we've seen in the last 5 or 6 years. Like, look at what the Jags have done with Trevor Lawrence. If Bryce Young or CJ Stroud can be Trevor Lawrence, and I'm not suggesting they are, but look how quickly you can turn a team around. And he did that with a wasted year.
yeah. And they don't have stars at the Jags, but what they have is competent coaching.
Yeah.
Hopefully, by bringing in Reich, they have competent coaching again. That is what they haven't had.
Moving on from the top 2 quarterback discussion, 1 or 2 players that I'd like to discuss before we close up this evening. So, what the cornerback situation, first of all. Christian Gonzalez, Devon Witherspoon, Joey Porter Jr., Deontay Banks. I think there was one more, Emmanuel Forbes. What is it possible for any or all of these cornerbacks to hit the ground running? We always get told hardest position. How many of them, if any, are going to be bang impactful?
Well, I think Bryce Young could be, and CJ Stroud, because they're the two we're talking about. I think
Cornerbacks.
Oh, sorry.
He's too busy texting on his phone and not paying attention to what's going on.
You look at what
Unbelievable, Jeff.
Busted.
Quarterback and quarterback do sound quite similar.
They
look
do.
at what the Sauce Gardner.
Unbelievable.
Sauce Gardner came in. I know he's playing in a good defensive scheme.
Sauce Gardner was brilliant.
Sauce Gardner came in last year, had a great team. You could look at. You'd worry for if it's happened like here. Christian Gonzalez at the Raiders, you go, ooh, shit.
Because if anyone goes to the Raiders, you say that.
But like the Commanders have a decent their defense is sort of 49ers light, and it's I think Steelers will go probably quarterback, and I think that anyone wouldn't want to go and play on the Steelers defense. There's a few teams there that you think actually they can go in, they can sort of start the career on a decent footing.
But I think also you've got to look at it in terms of Sauce Gardner was the second cornerback pick last year.
Yeah.
Stingley went first, and you don't really hear much of what he did.
Sauce Gardner's brilliant.
But that's it, because he went to a bad team. So you look at Gonzalez. I picked him for the Raiders.
Yeah. I was going to take him for the Falcons. I just want to say in my defence, I was messaging Duncan, who is obviously a Packers fan, because obviously to get
Why would you not?
feedback about that.
Has he got anything to say?
He believes they got fleeced.
Really?
Yeah. Honestly, yeah. So Duncan feels like
I thought they got a good
it was
deal.
cheap. I thought it was fair.
I thought it was fair.
39.
They were going to lose him for
51
nothing
million a year.
basically.
Yeah,
He doesn't want to be there. Didn't want him to be there. So that's what I was doing. I was getting a little bit of initial feedback from a Packers fan. So fuck you.
Isn't it amazing to think that teams that 5 or 6 years ago were amazing are now seriously dropped off? Patriots, Steelers, Packers, Broncos, dropping like flies.
So, I'll tell you, there's one player here who I think is going to be really interesting on draft night.
Go on.
Jalen Carter.
Yeah, so it's been controversial regarding Jalen Carter.
Because he's an elite level talent. He could be where we've got him.
Yep.
But
At
this
5 to the
issues
Seahawks.
with his personality and issues with his driving style. It's good. Let's be fair.
It's going to take the right type of franchise to take him. I think
We've got issues with Griff's personality. We still let him come on the
that's a
podcast.
fair point.
And my driving style. Seems fair.
Yeah, but I think the Seattle
He's just too
Seahawks there at 5. I think
That's the right organisation.
that's the right organisation and the right head coach
Yeah.
to take that sort of risk on a player. I think we might have got that one spot on.
Yeah.
He's got long to live.
I quite like it.
Didn't he go shirtless when they got DK Metcalf in?
Yeah.
Is he going to drag race Jalen Carter?
We've also been told this is one of the most loaded tight end classes we've seen in a long while. We've had Dalton Kincaid and Mike Myers go off the board early. Is it only going to be 2, or will there be more than 2?
No, it could be 3.
Yeah, I maybe should have taken one for the Cowboys. I did want a tight end. I just wasn't sure that, due to my lack of research, I wasn't sure if a third one was good enough to go.
I think it's
really.
between 2 and 3. And
I'm-
Darnell Washington's the third.
Yeah.
If there's one. But
I've seen amazing press around Darnell Washington.
Washington and Musgrave are like freaky athletes.
Right.
So it's whether a head coach wants to or a GM wants to take a chance on.
Tucker Craft.
Yeah, they're all.
No luck for Brenton Strange? It's a great name.
But yeah, there's some
You're telling me Tank Bigsby, who's across him, doesn't have a better name?
like high end ceiling, but like the floor's quite low.
Well, that takes me very nicely then to only one running back in our mock, Bijan Robinson. Is this what we believe is likely? The run on running backs not getting picked carries on?
But I think it has to. If Bijan Robinson is everything you see, he looks phenomenal. He just
So
looks
good.
He's such a step ahead.
But
the other running
he can
backs
play.
there.
He can play as a catcher as well. Like he's so dynamic and exciting that, as well. I think that it is short sighted to have this sort of drop in the value of a running back, because actually we've seen running backs, first round running backs, who when they do hit Christian McCaffrey, like if you can put him into the right team, put him into the right team, Zeke.
Yeah.
Like these players are brilliant difference makers.
You think about Zeke's first contract, that period of time for him for the Cowboys, he was a brilliant running
What
back.
fucks you
Todd
up
Gurley
is the
was a
second
brilliant
contract.
running back. It's a second contract which messes you up.
But we've also seen Najee Harris, who
He's been okay.
Harris is great.
Been
It's
all
great in his
right.
first
1,000-yard
year.
rusher.
All right.
His second season wasn't great, but
All
that
right, we've
offensive
also
line's
seen
terrible.
Devin Singletary.
This is the point, isn't it?
But yeah, no, there
so
are-
Travis Etienne or ETN, First year, didn't play.
He was injured.
Yeah, but still,
That
my
could
point.
happen to any player.
Brees Hall got injured quickly. More risk, isn't there? There's more risk at that position to spend a first round pick. I think if you can get a brilliant one from pick 24 to 32, then you take it. But I
think the problem is
you don't see him because you could just as likely get a great one in round 3, couldn't you? Just as likely.
I think the problem is there's the teams that we got 24-32. There's zero need.
Yeah, there is a dearth of need. Has anybody got anything else they would like to draw our attention to with our mock draft? I'm going to take the silence as a gaping no.
Let's move us on.
Move us on.
Well, does anyone have any news they'd like to address before we close the draft for another year? Anything else from the real world other than the Aaron Rodgers trade?
Not really. I think me and Jim mentioned a couple of weeks, we don't do the second round of our mock draft.
No.
Because this is already long enough as it is. But if we did the second round, we started to think that's where we could see even more trades in our mock drafts.
4 players as well.
Yeah, and you start to see, because we're starting to see a lot of Nuke Hopkins.
Yeah.
That's when we could see him in our mock drafts being moved. Dalvin Cook, these players who are on contracts that the teams need to move on. I think it'd be quite interesting. But yeah, I don't know if if that sort of thing will happen on the second night of the draft. Maybe you'll start seeing some bigger names than usual maybe moving on because, quite frankly, it does look like the Vikings need to get rid of Dalvin Cook. And I think there's still some life left in
Absolutely.
in him. So it's interesting. Yeah.
So the draft then starts Thursday night into Friday morning and carries on throughout the weekend. I will inevitably fall asleep after about pick 9.
Me too.
Yep, that's usually how it works, which is not quite long
I'll
enough
keep you informed. Don't worry.
for me to... Yeah, great. Thanks.
Jim's taking the day off just to watch the draft.
Have you actually?
I've got Friday off, yeah.
Sweet Christ.
But now the wife knows, so he's in trouble.
Right, well, that wraps it up for another year then. Another successful Snap UK podcast mock draft. We'll be back next week to see what we got right, what we got wrong, and what we want to mock Paul for. Thank you, and good night.